Here are 3 romantasy books that were so good they put me into a reading slump, and 3 romantasy books that were so good they got me out of a reading slump. Let's start with the ones that were so good they put me in a reading slump. Let's start off with the one that probably put me in the worst romantasy reading slump I have ever been in, and that is Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. I finished this back in January, and it honestly left me so unwell. No other romantasy book could do it for me anymore. I feel like just thinking about this book could put me back into a reading slump, so I'm gonna move on. Next is none other than Kingdom of Ash. I think it was the fact that I spent so long reading this entire series, and then I finished this book and it was just over, left me in a spot where I didn't know what to do with myself. This is just perfection, and I wish I could read this series again for the first time. The third book that put me into a romantasy slump was really, again, a series, and it was when I finished it, and that is the Zodiac Academy series. This was another one where when I finished it, I was just so sad that I would never get to read about these characters ever again, and I grew to absolutely love all of the characters. And if you've read this series, you know that it takes a lot to love some of these characters, and the fact that by the end of the book I just love them all made this series so much more special. You really get put through the ringer in this series, and I feel like that's another reason why I have such an emotional attachment to it. It's like trauma bonding. So just know when you finish the series, you will be unwell. One of the books that got me out of reading slumps. I'm gonna start off with the one that got me out of my Onyx Storm reading slump, which I thought was impossible. That book was The Wolf King by Lauren Powell Freeman. I read this book and then I read the second book, The Night Prince. I genuinely had not been that excited to read a romantasy since Onyx Storm. Let me just tell you, I read Onyx Storm in January and I read The Wolf King at the end of June. 5 months worth of romantasy couldn't do it for me, but this book, this is like ACOTAR with wolf shifters. You have a human girl that gets taken to wolf shifter territory. There's a love triangle. It is so good. Another romantasy series that was so good it got me out of a romantasy slump was the Plated Prisoner series by Raven Kennedy. This is a 6-book completed series. It is a King Midas retelling with a twist. It has some of the best character development I have ever read and one of my favorite male main characters of all time. There's also really good found family in this, and by that 6th book, it was making me love characters I never thought I would love. The third book that was so good it got me out of a romantasy slump was A Tongue So Sweet and Deadly by Sophia St. Germain. This is another one where I was just so excited to keep reading the story. It has great romance, it has great plot, it has a slow burn that spans over 2 books, and there is a male main character in here that reminds me of Rowan from Throne of Glass. So those were the 3 books that put me into a romantasy slump and 3 books that got me out of it.